Hi everyone. Today I wanted to talk about a 1966 movie, Line of Demarcation. This is a World War II film that can be described as a tense thriller. Indeed, at times I found it unbearably tense. It's set in a small French village that is part of France that is occupied by the Germans. They live on a river, and on the other side of the river is Vichy France, Free France, and a bridge goes across. And this river is, in fact, the line of demarcation. And I imagine the years around 1943, we hear of the Battle of Tobruk, the Germans losing a effort to capture Cairo. They've also been thwarted in, the Red Army has thwarted the German army from getting to Moscow. These events are mentioned in the film. And the French villagers mention, Hitler didn't invade England. That was a big jolt of hopefulness that the war will turn against the Germans inevitably. And there's a sense that among the villagers that it will turn, not by all of them, however. And so the river is used as an escape route. So they're for Jewish refugees, for aircraft pilots who were shot down, for spies that come, part of the resistance, come to spy on the German movements. And most of the villagers are part of this resistance, in that they help. They use a boat at night. They know the best places to cross. They know when the patrols pass by. And it's basically an ensemble cast, so we get a sense of the village itself and how the village, the psychology of the village. There's a black market. There's the person who ferries the people who need to get to Free France across the river. He's basically in it for the money. And there's also a collaborator who is the interpreter for the German commanding officer. And the commanding officer is living in this castle, and the count that would normally live there at the opening of the film comes back, crosses the river to come home, finds out that he has to live in the hunting lodge with his wife, who's part of the English aristocracy, but she's not sent to a camp because of the fact that she's now a French citizen, being married to a French count. And so this is only like 20 years, a little over 23 years probably after the events that happened. So where they filmed on location was a town that was part of occupied Germany. And so we get a real, and the director of this film, who I haven't mentioned yet, Claude Chabrol, really uses a lot of great French character actors and very vivid performances. The events of the film are based on a memoir by somebody who was in the French resistance. So even though some of these seem kind of Hollywood movie style, evidently they were part of his experiences as in the French resistance. There are a couple of stomach blocks for me. One is the two Gestapo agents. They're sort of the cartoon version of the Gestapo with their long black leather coats and hats, and they're very well performed, but they seem kind of like a stock figure of what we see in so many other films. The other stomach block I had, and this is something in a lot of movies you have to overlook, is the accents, or the language that people use in the film. In other words, everything is in French. There is a bit of English. The Count and his wife are played by Maurice Ronet and Jean Seberg, two big stars, although they're part of an ensemble. They're not really starring roles. But when Jean Seberg participates in some of these escapes involving English flyers, and then she speaks, but you know, she's speaking in a Midwestern American English, you know, not aristocratic English accent. And then, like I say, everybody's speaking French, and the Germans, even to themselves. And it's more noticeable here because of the fact that the collaborator is the translator. And he's in a number of scenes, and yet he's not needed to translate because everybody's speaking French. But amongst the pluses is the cinematography, and that's by Jean Ribet. And he was a long-time Claude Chabrol cinematographer, both before and after Line of Demarcation, all the way up into Madame Bovary, I think, in the early 1990s. And the look of the film, it's a 4K restoration. I think it was done by Studio Canal. It's absolutely superb restoration. I mean, this black and white is just mesmerizing. If you like black and white, this is a movie you really might want to see. Then we get a commentary by Sam Dagan, and as always, it's very good. She really praises the film, places it into Claude Chabrol's golden period, his golden age, which comes right after Line of Demarcation, from about 67 to 75. All these movies are unavailable, at least in the United States, so maybe in France you can get them, but the golden age is not here. We have all these early films, everything pretty much except for La Bonne Femmes, which I think is one of his best films. I haven't seen it in many, many years. And then the later films, of course, are available. In fact, Arrow is releasing Lies and Deceits in a couple weeks with 5 films from 85 to 94. And then in March, Twisting the Knife, 4 films from 97 to 2003. I like all these films. Chabrol is one of my favorite filmmakers. One of the reasons is I can watch his films over and over again, unlike some of the other new wave directors like Jean-Luc Godard and Francois Truffaut. I'm always drawn back to Chabrol's movies, and so this is an oddity. I would not place it with the golden era, but it's got so many terrific performances. It's very suspenseful, and if you're a Chabrol fan, it's an absolute must. Okay, thanks a lot for everybody who managed to listen to me. I do appreciate it. This is a Kino Lorber. I always forget to mention this is a Kino Lorber Blu-ray. You guys take care.